When will it be enough? One more try. There. Adequate. Enough. More. She wants more. But so did I.
The Tower of Sysiphus and its endless levels have unleashed new possibilities for Selene's attempt to escape Planet Atropos. But it is inside the Zahariel Memorial Hospital that she has found a new glimmer of hope, a sigh of relief that seems could ease her burden, at least for now. We've already analyzed the secrets of the hospital in our latest video, but in this second installment in the Deep Dive series for Returnal Ascension DLC, it is time to try to make sense of what is going on in the final cutscene after Selene recovers all of the Poppies to make an offering for her mother. What does this mean? How do all the clues in the hospital connect? And most importantly, how this may impact our original theories from the first explanatory video for Returnal's endings that was published back in 2021. Before we jump down the rabbit hole, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming PlayStation Studios documentaries that I will be publishing ahead this year for some of your favorite video games like The Last of Us, Horizon, God of War, and more. But without further ado, let's dive into the ending of the Ascension DLC for Returnal. In order to trigger the first ending cutscene on the 6th visit to the hospital, Selene must collect a total of 6 poppies from the Tower of Sysiphus to make a bouquet that works as some sort of peace offering and acts as the room where her mother Thea awaits. When the bouquet is finally complete, Selene mentions that this was meant as a gift because she didn't know what else to do. She gathered these poppies from their garden because her mother said that they were her favorites. If we take a closer look at the ending of Act 1, where Selene daydreams of her return to Earth, we can see that the aforementioned poppies, in what I understand is a messy garden in front of Selene's house, are there. These white poppies are a symbol of peace, which fits perfectly with the idea of the offering for Thea as a way to try to mend the broken relationship between them. After leaving the flowers nearby, a pregnant Thea offers her a hug, disappearing shortly after to reveal the presence of Xaos, who has been manipulating her reality the whole time. This was foreshadowed during the second hospital visit when Ichor, which in Greek mythology stands for the blood of the gods, makes its appearance. We have seen it before in one of the secret chambers of the 5th biome. But more importantly during the ending of Act 1, when Selene meets Xaos for the first time. The connection between Ichor and Xaos, one possibly powering the other in order to make all of these illusions, is key for making the Zahariel Memorial Hospital a reality. The important point of this ending is how it explores Selene's suffering for not being accepted and loved by her mother. Instead, she was given a life of regrets and shaming before and after the accident. The physical abuse from her mother is very clear, as we can see in the Act 3's ending, where she gets lifted by the throat, probably resembling one of her many encounters during her childhood. She ended up repeating the cycle by doing physical and psychological harm to Thea. The evidence for this is found in the very name of the Zahariel Memorial Hospital and the autopsy report from hospital visit number 7. Zahariel is one of the primary angels who leads souls to judgment, but also it is an angel of healing and the angel of children, particularly children of parents who have sinned and are therefore at risk of falling into sin as adults themselves. But the scariest part of all of this is the autopsy report that states the cause of death of Thea as a combination of multiple unknown effects and traumatic encephalopathy. According to the Indiana University School of Medicine website, CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, is a progressive degenerative disease affecting people who have suffered repeated concussions and repetitive head impacts. Symptoms are similar to those found in other kinds of dementia, including memory loss, aggression, confusion, depression, and more. and the changes in the brain and related symptoms may begin months, years, or even decades after the last brain trauma accident. This disease was brought to the mainstream's attention with the 2015 film Concussion, starring Will Smith, where they addressed the controversial diagnosis of these deceased former NFL players. But Thea is no professional athlete. Well, she had a great ability for swimming according to this newspaper scrap found down the hall, but there are no repetitive head trauma risks involved in swimming. So, the question is, why and how did she end up in this horrible condition? And the answer might be as clear as day. Selene physically abused her throughout the years, probably beating her in the head and God knows what else. And this was as vengeance for all the abuse Thea committed before, repeating the cycle of violence as the angel Zahariel's name once foretold.
Mother, I'm home.
The second ending is unlocked after defeating Algos in its third and final form inside the Tower of Sysiphus. According to the website theory.com, the Algea were the personified spirits of pain and suffering, body and mind, grief, sorrow, and distress. But the term Algos was used by Hesiod as a plural form of these Algae, referring to the personification of sorrows and griefs, which are there represented as the daughters of Ares. This is further represented with the poem and the evolving painting in the waiting room, where they make reference to Selene's journey in Planet Atropos. Selene then enters room 836 once again, only to find Thea's bed empty and a trail of flower petals that go from the bed to the waiting room. This might be a signal that Thea left the room, probably heading to the elevator, which I think symbolizes heaven or some sort of closure, hinted by these two phrases on the first and third visits as she is near the elevator.
Broken. Restored. Tokens for the crossing.
But let's go back to Selene. Almost instantly after entering the room, she strikes us with a shocking dialogue.
Mother saved all her smiles for Helios. Now they can be together.
This is even reinforced by the letter or poem titled Unmended that can be found near the window, where we possibly have a glimpse of the relationship between Thea and Helios, and how this made Selene jealous in some way. Even more intriguing is the presence of the book Thea and Her Only Child, which by the way can also be found on the second floor of the house during the main story. If we inspect Thea's body in both the Act 3 ending and the first hospital ending, we can clearly see Thea is pregnant while she is in a wheelchair. This might be a hint that she was pregnant during the fatal car crash and she lost her baby, leaving Selene as her only child. It is only normal to think that Thea had a close relationship with Helios, as we've already explained in our previous ending videos, especially if this miscarriage was a baby boy. But it is not until this point that we can see Selene's jealousy towards that relationship that she never had with her mother, and that her own child is stealing from her. Selene then lies on the bed and is transported to the blue space room, where she says,
Is this all I get? Just an empty space where she should be.
The only instance where we get transported to this blue space room is during the cutscene of the ending for Act 3, by using the keys to open the car's door, recovered after collecting all of the sun phase fragments and visiting the house for the last time. If Selene is saying, just an empty space where she should be, this means that the Ascension DLC is not a random point in her timeline while skipping Planet Atropos, but it goes directly after she had already gained conscience about being the White Shadow, because there is no other way she could have known about the existence of this room, and that means that after coming to terms with Helios' death and becoming the White Shadow, she didn't break the cycle, but instead returned to the ship back at Planet Atropos. There is a similar blue room when Selene sits in the wheelchair in the basement of the house on visit number 6, but the floor is clearly visible, while in the second hospital ending and the Act Freeze ending, there is water instead. Selene then drops to her knees and seems thankful about this by saying,
A moment of respite, at least. A break in the cycle. No pain here. This was earned.
To later wake up at the lowest level of Tower of Sysiphus to begin the cycle once more. These events obviously shake off all of my previous ending theories because I thought the cycle was done by the end of Act 3, but with this ending, we can see that Selene's journey still continues, and this creates two paths in my mind. One, another very dark ending explanation that links all of this together and will come in the last upcoming video for the Returnal DLC Deep Dive series, so be sure to subscribe for that. And number 2, it gives me a very solid reason to think that we will get one more DLC, just one more opportunity for Selene to finally face chaos and try to break this cycle forever after she confronts the lost memories of the man that I believe was a real White Shadow. The one that truly was selected by Astro to go to space and left behind his family in search for glory. Selene's father, Hyperion. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more PlayStation Studios related videos, or even consider supporting by joining the Mr. Tequila Boys Productions Patreon, with free day early access to any future videos to be published here on the channel and many more cool perks. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later on the Visa.